Hey, LabCoat agents, it's Tristan, and I've got Barry Jenkins and Suneet Agarwal with us, both professors with us here. And today we've got two amazing guests with us. We've got Chad from All the Leads. He's in Virginia today. And Michelle, who's from Baton Rouge, says the weather is absolutely nasty today.
Yes.
She's joining us. So thank you for being with us. We're going to talk about probates. Now, it's a good combo that we've got here because we've got some experienced people that have been breaking into the probate market, and I'm not that experienced with it, so I'm going to be learning along with you. So this is a cool ride for me. And so I'm going to transition it over to Barry. Barry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I am super excited to pick the brain of Chad, who is the brains behind the operation and is instrumental in how many agents do you have on your mastermind calls on average that are learning the processes of how to work probates?
We probably get consistently 125 a week.
Right,
at least.
right. 125 a week, and you're teaching them how to not only utilize the tools that you're offering them, but actually grow this business into something huge. So just tell us a little bit about, where, because you're not the only company out there that offers some kind of data on probates, but there's so much that you offer that's completely different that actually helps your agents become a success. So I would love to hear about how you're more than just phone numbers and data and kind of where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, good question. So we decided early on that data is always will become a commodity, and that's where downward price races start. So knowing that this is publicly available data, anyone can get it. You can go to the courthouse today, 99% of cases. So we decided to take the commodity and wrap it in so much value that we weren't part of that downward price rate. So it's kind of a true blue ocean model, right? Value innovation. So we took a simple data set of probate and we built a system around it. And as we started to identify choke points that real estate agents and investors have, we started to build automation around that. So what we do, we go to the courthouse every 30 days and we pull all of the probate data. And then we augment that. We've got a pretty impressive system. We have 95% accuracy getting you phone numbers. So we'll give you up to 4 numbers for the personal representative. We give you all the court information, the attorney information. Having the phone numbers is what gives you a really big edge, and especially in super competitive markets. But it doesn't stop there. So once we have the data, it gets pushed into a custom CRM that we provide as part of your additional charge. And we were talking about it before the recording started. It's a really simple CRM built specifically to keep you from getting wrapped around the axle and to make sure your prospecting gets done and it saves you money each step through your marketing campaign. And then, so in addition to the kind of software and data, we provide kind of a ridiculous amount of support and training. So we have at this point over 400 hours of archived mastermind and role play calls. We have fast track training, probate mastery. So we've got, every time we have identified a choke point or a need, we stepped up and and improved the system. So we now have completely automated direct mail service, and we have completely automated ISA center. So it can be where you basically sign up, learn what you need to know, set up your campaign one time, maybe 10, 15 minutes. We use our online editor, get your letters set up, and we deliver your leads directly into the CRM. The CRM fires an order to the mail house, and then the mail house fires an order to the ISA center. And then you are notified when you get appointments. So that's kind of the evolution of it. When we started out, we were just sending spreadsheets, but we have driven this business with the number one principle, provide value first. And that's what we try to teach our agents to how to serve the community. And that's how we kind of built this company. So a lot of it was built out of necessity that we saw. Yeah. So that's kind of the biggest difference, I think, is just the level of attention and commitment that we have to improving the one system. And we named the company All the Leads because when you first start, you've got this grand vision, and there's literally 1 billion data points that I have played with and speak about from stage and stuff. But we've decided to focus on something and just be the best at one thing before we start the next thing. And there's a lot of stuff like, Vacant House and a lot of different systems that we've used, and our beta groups have made a lot of money, but we've kind of made the decision to continue improving this until it's as good as it can get. So.
Yeah, no, that's, and I just want to, for those that are listening and maybe you caught part of it, I know how I am on a webinar. I want to restate something that Chad just said that's incredibly important. They provide really good data, and I actually am using the data in my business. That in and of itself is important. I knew Suneet is as well. So the data is important, but you decided that you were going to provide, just wrap the data in an immense amount of value. And I can speak firsthand. I know Michelle, I'm really pumped to hear about her success. Suneet, for me, I was telling Chad before we started at 10:30 this morning, their ISA team took the data, and in cooperation with the letters that I've been sending through your service, they set an appointment for me in a killer neighborhood, by the way, in a very desirable zip code at a price point that I'm actually really excited about. And they did that, and they sent me an audio.
You got an appointment today? Yeah. Chad, what's up?
At 10:30. And so, I think, for those that are do-it-yourselfers, they've got the product. For those that are want a little bit of support, they've got some of those services. And then for those that, like myself, I'm out of production, but I'm constantly producing, they've got that as well. And so I know for me, and I want to hear from Michelle, one of my favorite things is while there's emotion involved in the loss, when it gets to the sale, I know for me, many times they're not as an emotional as the sale. And I know sometimes people, they attach themselves to the home and things like that. But I've had great fortune to where they've been estates or, people in other parts of the country. And so it just makes it a super easy sale for me. And so Michelle, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how, what the value that all the leads is offering, what it's meant in your business and how you're growing with it.
Okay, absolutely. So I'm Michelle Noblock, and I'm here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I have been a member of All the Leads for a few years now, and it has been instrumental. I mean, one thing that I'll just give my hats off to Chad and his team is they are constantly improving just how they can deliver the information and how the agents can improve on carrying that out, getting a better conversion. So it really, the numbers have went up significantly just over the few years. And we're still not doing everything that there is out there. I mean, we still do the calls. Actually, I do the calls myself to these individuals' leads. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing has been the consistency and using the systems that they have in place. They make those pointers for a reason. And do it, don't reinvent that model.
Yeah. And, and let me say this, I think, Chad, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if somebody utilizes the training you offer, I think if they can fit it into their business, it's actually better if they make those calls. Is that right or no?
Yeah. The ISA center is only there because we saw people failing because they either never found the time or the confidence to get on the phone. So the last thing in the world I wanted to do was learn how to build a call center and train those people, train people. But it was necessary for us. I hate to admit that there's any churn rate in this business, but the industry churns, so we've done everything we can to help stop the churn. And it's not something that, the mail and the phone calls is not something we're really trying to monetize. It's just something that we use to try to make people successful, and we don't have contracts. So the more successful we can make our customer base, the longer they'll stick around. So that was kind of the idea behind it.
Chad, I have a question here from the audience here. John Matisich is asking, Chad, can I integrate my own CRM with your system?
So right now we have a direct interface with Vulcan 7 is the only one that we automatically push your leads to. If your CRM company is open, we're built on all custom software. So if they have an API and they're willing to work with us, we can integrate with almost anything. I will say this though, I usually 99% of the time I discourage people from doing that because your CRM, so think of a spreadsheet with 69 columns. That's how much data you have. And most real estate CRMs just aren't set up without a whole bunch of work. They're just not set up to handle this kind of data. So we built a really simple CRM that displays it in a way that's really easy to, on the fly. It's really easy to prospect and understand. So yes, we can and we're willing to, but we usually don't.
All right. And another question from the audience, from Michael Perna. He has two questions. First, he wants to know if you integrate with Agent Legend, or can we integrate with your product with Agent Legend? Barry, do you know that answer? You might know it more, man.
Well, I did it, and it didn't work very well. And the only reason for it, Suneet, you want to speak to that?
I say don't do it at all. You're going to just get upset people. This requires a softer touch by far.
Well, it's a soft touch, but then also, you know, I think part of the training, Chad, that you offer, and I keep going back to that because I think sometimes we get so focused on the bells and whistles that we forget that you guys have perfected an art of you know, generating business in this area. And if you just simply do it, you're going to be better for it. And of course, with Agent, it's great because you can automate a lot, but I feel like there's a little bit more back and forth with the scripting that you guys have provided that you're lost if you're just pushing a voicemail. It just doesn't work as well.
Well, didn't you try that, Barry?
What's that?
Didn't you try that for like a month or something?
I did. Yeah, I didn't. It didn't really work that well. I mean, I think it would work in complementary to like other processes, but by far and away, the ISA team has been the best for me from your team. But
I have a question here, Chad.
all right.
And this is, I'm pretty sure a couple of people are asking. Oh, thanks, buddy. I didn't know that's how you pronounce your name, John. Here's what I'm trying to get to, because I've seen your product, and it's super cool, especially after everyone's saying how amazing it is. But this can all be done without your product as well, right? So first, I want you to take us through the process of doing this without your product, and then highlighting how your product makes that so much easier for people. Because I also want to give the value of that to everyone that's listening, right?
So I actually tried to do it on my own. But once Chad talks, I'll talk about my results when I was trying to do it on my own.
I want to hear it too.
So I moved here from Maui, where I was selling like beachfront whole ownership, and I'd never done much in residential. And to me, this was, I spotted the need in the marketplace. So I'm like, I'm going to go to the courthouse and see how much data is there. I made it 2 times, and this company was born. It's not a fun process. And it's a matter of, you know, get in your car, go downtown, pay for parking, go in the courthouse, leave your cell phone with the security guard because you're not allowed to have it if you're not a member of the bar. So with pen and paper, you dig into probate records and you write down the information for the personal representative, the attorney, the case number, the deceased last known address, and other information. You bring that back. If you really want to have an edge, you need to skip trace that. So if you spend a lot of money, you can use LexisNexis, or you can use a kind of a lower level service like Spokio.com or Intellius.com, whatever you use to skip trace. Once you've skip traced it, you get all that into a spreadsheet and database it in some form. And then you have to worry about setting up your letters and your mail merge. And what we do, we recommend sending, and I've wasted literally tens of thousands of my dollars learning this, but we use a greeting card envelope with a live first class stamp and handwriting. And it makes a huge difference in your mail response, but it also complicates your marketing fulfillment. So find a printer that will print handwriting and find the font, set it up, and then finally pull the trigger on your marketing and go educate yourself on the probate process. And I mean, for me, I probably fell flat on my face 20 times, 12 to 20 times in the appointments, because I was focused on real estate. And that's the number one mistake I see people make. They treat this like a FSBO or expired, where they just go right to the jugular. Mm-hmm. And what we teach, the common thread through everything you'll hear me teach, is focus on people and situation. And you'll find a natural segue into the real estate conversation. And you lead with value in any way you can. So it can be done. The county clerk's office is where you're going to find your data. So if you want to go give this a shot, go to your local courthouse, go to the county clerk's office, and ask to see the probate records. They're usually pretty helpful once you get there. There are a few markets where you have to go back multiple times. There's one where we have to pay, I think, $50 per day for data access, and we're only allowed to pull 10 leads per day. And there's some complications in some markets. Other markets you can grab online. Probably 10% of the country you can grab online. But the bigger picture here is not like it's not the data. So it's what's the value of your time. So the average real estate agent makes what, $48,000 according to NAR. So your time, even at that, even if you're operating at average, which I doubt this group, I think the bar is a lot higher in this group, you're costing yourself $25 an hour. And when I did it to do everything I just talked about, get the data, get the phone numbers, set up a mailing campaign, execute the mailing campaign, before I even got on the phone, I'd invested 15, 20 hours in the campaign. And then you have to repeat this month in and month out. So that was the opportunity for us to step up and provide a service that kind of automates all of that, so the agent can focus on what they're good at. They can focus on the people in the situation.
So take us through the process. If I wanted to do this on my own, Chad, what would I need to do? What would be the first step I would need to do? If I want to say, hey, you know what? I don't have the money to get all the leads, right? But I want to just try it, see if it's for me.
So the first thing I would do is, and this worked for me, maybe it won't with your personality, I went to Starbucks and I bought like a rack of coffee, and then I went to the county clerk's office in my county. And I just was really frank with them. I said, listen, I've helped a few families do this, but frankly, I'm ignorant. I'd like to learn more so I can do a better job. And I sat down with the probate clerk. She walked me through the probate process, gave me my education, and then she walked me into the records room, and I learned how to pull the probate records.
Wow.
Because there's 3,143 counties. There's no way I can tell you what that looks like in your county. But if you go to the probate clerk, that's your path of least resistance. Go talk to them, and then they'll educate you on the local process. Once you've done that, you need to get a system in place. So you need to have a system for databasing it. So how do you is it just a spreadsheet? Is it Google Docs? Do you use your CRM? How are you going to add phone numbers? You need to find a good skip trace source. You need to write good letters. And the key to good letters is empathy. So what we teach, and this is kind of a rabbit hole, but what we teach is you be the hub and the wheel. So as the probate expert, you're the hub. And one of the spokes is real estate brokerage. One is real estate investments, contractors, clean out crews. But you build this, broad scope of service. And that needs to be, you need that to be in your letters, because that we hear literally every day. I hear somebody tell me about a listing or an acquisition where they had 20 or 30 letters from investors or postcards, and they were the only one they called. Like, we had tons of stories in all price points. So the letters it's really important, your approach. Empathy is I think the number one ingredient in this is having a servant's heart and being empathetic and, focusing on the people. So you get that into your letter, get your letter in the mail, and then follow up with a phone call. That's kind of the basic recipe. I mean, that's how I started. We teach, a minimum of 3 letters. We space them 30 days apart and follow each one with a phone call. If you have the bandwidth and the budget, I would say go out to 12 months at least. Most of my come list me calls are from 6 to 24 months from the death. These people all move at a different pace. There's family members spread out. There's all kinds of different variables in the situation. So if you can afford to continue to market and follow up until you've spoken to everybody, that's really the best practice. So the key, guys, I mean, and we're friends with some of the other people in this space that sell probate courses, not leads. And the biggest failure point that I see is just not doing anything. That's where most people hang up. It requires quite a bit of work and tracking to keep this straight. Because if you're doing 3 letters and 3 phone calls, then in your 3rd month, you'll hit critical mass. You're managing 9 mail pieces and 9 phone calls and trying to keep all of that straight. So that's why the CRM is built the way it is. That's why our mailing service is automated, and you set up the campaign one time. So you can absolutely do it on your own. I have yet to, and I've coached thousands of people in this. when we sit down and do the math, I haven't met one single person so far that saves money by doing it on their own. I mean, if you figure, I mean, if you're a top 10% agent, your time's worth $75 to $100 an hour. So most people don't save money by trying to do it on their own. We invite everybody from the public to our weekly calls. So every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, you can join our mastermind call. And everyone on this call is welcome. I welcome you to join us. We archive that publicly. If you want to attempt it on your own, that's a great place to learn. You'll hear 100 to 150 brokers and agents around the country every single Thursday. It's an open line, unmoderated call. And unfortunately, I get thrown into the hot seat every week. And then every Wednesday, we do a live role play call for an hour where I jump in the hot seat and people bring objections and questions. So jump on those calls, learn what you can, and go to the courthouse. And Suneet will tell you
how do people jump on those calls for free, Chad?
The number is, so you want me to share my screen now?
Yes, please.
I can jump over. Yeah. So this is alltheleads.com. You guys see it?
Yep. Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
There it is.
So for the public, for our subscribers, we have a part in the subscriber portal. But if you go to All the Leads Mastermind, this is our Facebook group, and jump over in the search bar. Then you can see that if you put in Mastermind, that'll kind of pull up all the archives. So this is the public access. Jump to our website and go under Education and Training. You'll see right here at the top in the blue box, this is the number for the dialing and access code for the weekly call. And we also, the first Tuesday of every month, we do a role play call, and it's the same number. It's just not on this page. But Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern every week, on the screen.
That's super cool. I haven't seen the screen.
And if anyone, for the subscribers, I'll show you kind of where that is. We have a call archive that we keep every call.
You need to finish your training, Chad.
Don't make me pull your account up in front of everybody.
No,
So you can see there's 3 mastermind calls and a role play call every month, and you can listen to these right on the site. I summarize every call so you can actually hear, get an idea of what it was before the call starts.
Yeah, so valuable. So valuable. And Michelle, are you on these some of these calls?
I am on some. I'm not able to make all of those calls due to something that I already have in my schedule. So when I can jump on once every couple months, I'll reach out to Chad.
Well, I remember when I was talking to Chad, something that stood out to me about your story. I guess you've had experience in life that has helped you kind of be more in touch with these leads. And I don't know if you maybe can speak to that.
Yeah. So, 7 years ago, I had already been in the business as a part-time agent and had experienced losing my mom. And so it did go through, I went through that position in life where what do I do? Which way do I want to go? Do I want to sell? Do I want to keep? And so it brought back all those emotions, and it really helped to come to grasp of everything that they're going through. So you lay those expectations out of, where they're coming from, and letting them know by giving them options, bringing clarity to them of what they can expect, or something that they didn't think about, with insurance, changing the policy, with, what they have, what kind of paperwork they've put together. It's really, really helped to put that letter in reaching out to our leads. We've actually replaced it with a more heartfelt story, and that way they can now connect with that and know that it's not just another investor or another wholesaler. And just like Chad was saying, hearing many stories of people reaching out to just that one person, even though they've received 20 phone calls and 15 letters. It happens. So whenever you come and you show them value and you come from contribution, I mean, it's you stick with, you're able to help those people out.
Michelle, do you see people refer back to that portion of the letter often?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
That's really
And
cool.
so you're talking to one of the contacts that all the lead has provided you, and you make sure you're talking to the right person. I know that I'm going off script a little bit, but just curiosity here. How do you typically, because there's like that 10 to 20 seconds when you first talk to somebody where they're making a snap judgment if they want to talk to you. So do you start off like apologetically, or is it, what is normally your go-to initial scripting when you're calling with some of these leads?
So it starts out as the typical script, just calling on 123 Main Street. And I keep my All the Leads site portal up as well as my dialer. And so I see if it's, a husband-wife situation, or if it's an heir, that you see the two different addresses. And then I go about the next question in the next way that it fits. If it's a husband-wife, like I see, you have this house and didn't know if there was a need to sell. We have buyers in that area, then I'm going that way with it. It really just depends, but every single script starts out with the same, introducing myself and if they are a owner on the property or an actual heir.
All right, so then they respond in a way that indicates that they've lost a loved one. And is that the moment that you go into, not, you're not salesman mode. It's just, at that moment you're about that individual. Is that normally when you start doing that?
Correct. Just saying, look, I'm a probate specialist, so being a licensed realtor, and then also understanding the process, reaching out to see if there's anything that we can help with. So if they need to have an estate sale, they need to do work on the property. Really trying to find where that need is by asking more questions so I can connect them and then get a face-to-face with them.
So you need to have a list of these people too that you're going to be referring, right? So that's awesome.
Oh yeah. That's one of the additional mailers that's in like a trifold brochure that we'll mail out, but that's something that I'll bring whenever I do meet with them as well.
I think that's huge that it's coming from you, the person who signed the letter, the person who they will be meeting, instead of I have people call the leads on my behalf, and I'm sure that could help Chad with some of her success on the system.
Well, and it's even, I'm sure everyone, on this call, a family, a friend, or a friend of a friend, that they went through that experience. And so even coming from that, of how you played a role in helping.
Well, and it's kind of funny to me because, when agents are talking about trying to get leads, the seller lead is like the most elusive, most challenging. Like everybody is just like scratching their head on how to obtain more seller leads. And this is something, there's always going to be, it's probate is here to stay. And would you say, like, and I'm going to put you on the spot again, but ballpark, like how much of a significance in your business, when you look at like last year, for example, did all the leads and the spin-off business from the listings, did it make up 30% of your business, 40? If you were to ballpark it, what would you say?
So we are 70% past clients and then 25% probate.
That's big.
Wow. That's huge.
That's really big.
And then, of course, the probates then fall into your past clients, and then they refer you. And I'm sure you've had scenarios where you get a probate lead, you close it, then they refer you to their friends and family.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's
or they become your next buyer. A really common move is, so the average inheritance in the U.S. is $177,000. So a really common move is you settle the probate, put your home on the market, and then upgrade. And we've got a lot of stories from our customers. We had one guy, he didn't even have a probate to sell, but he did get life insurance, and he sold his $1.6 million home and bought a $2.5 million home.
What?
So the idea approaching this is not, don't think of this as just a single focus, like just listing houses. There are dozens of ways to provide value and monetize this. I mean, I've turned my probate sellers into private money investors, and then turned around and loaned that money to my cash, like my landlords and flippers, so they could buy other probate inventory that was being sold as is. So you can create a whole cycle of transactions. And some of our strongest subscribers, they kind of prescribe to, so they consider any conversation they have with these folks, they're added to their sphere of influence. And they have business coming from all directions because of that. So let me find a way to help you. You're going in my database, and it always comes back.
So Chad, can you, oh no, Barry, you have a question. Go ahead, shoot before you forget it.
Well, I think I already forgot it. I'm just kidding. So when you have, you've got an estate that is looking at this sale, not emotionally, Chad, but it's more of a financial decision. You know, it seems like that's an easy segue to say, look, as you have this chunk of money, would you like to place it in this investment vehicle of buying more homes? Is that kind of what you're doing in a way? You know?
Yeah. So I mean, kind of the role play of it is, congratulations, we've closed on this. The hard part's over. Listen, as I said when we started, it's really important that we kind of understand your overall situation and help in any way we can. So would it be okay if I have Mark give you a call? He's going to offer a free consultation to you, so we know that you have an opportunity to at least understand your options for investing this money and preserving the wealth, and also to set up an estate plan so your family never has to go through this again. The average estate loses 4 to 7% of its value going through probate. So why should any of our clients ever have to probate their estates? We should be referring them all to estate planning attorneys. That's also a big part of what we teach. If you can lead with value with the attorneys, turn all your past clients into referrals, and those attorneys they'll reciprocate. You'll get the trust business, you'll get the probate business. So that's kind of the idea there is create, present it as a service after the sale. Now that the house is gone, we're not done with you. We want to still provide value to you, and it's amazing where business can come from when you provide that level of service.
And so we got an all the leads home seller that had an attorney already, and that attorney does a lot of estate planning and works a lot with wills and things like that. And in the last 30 days, they've referred 3 listings to us. And for us, it's a law firm, and I think there's like 4 attorneys there, and they've come to us and they've said, agents don't understand the opportunity they have, and we give them these referrals and they squander them. And they said, one of the things that we love about your team is that we know if we hand you the file, we're not going to hear anything else about it, that it's just going to get done. And then that's where, we're buying leads from you, and we're leveraging them and rolling them into more opportunity. And at the end of the day, that's what this is about. Is just, opportunity is everything in this business.
Yeah.
Chad, can we really take some time? We've only got about 23 minutes left, and just go throughout the whole product and everything that we can do, and from the data to the ISAs to the mail to the planning to the training. Can you just really kind of get in depth and go through the system for all these people out there?
Good question, Suneet. Yeah. I want to see what it does, because I'm already excited. I want to buy it already, Chad. I'm like, that's why I didn't want to do this webinar. I was like, I don't want to be on this.
So I'll jump over to the screen. 90% of our value is kind of behind the password. So you start out on alltheleads.com, and in the top right, you'll hit subscriber portal. And then once you get in here, normally this would be our training. So it would pop up, you have video training, it's called Fast Track, and you have 3, it's total like 40 minutes. So you'll watch 3 videos. This is kind of keeps track of your progress. Everything up here is menu driven. So the first step is getting your leads. We archive all the leads in one place by the month. You can see the month that they're in there. So once you click in here, you'll see the list view. And this is, obviously I haven't prospected this list in a demo account, but And the reason you don't see any attorney data is because in Southwest Virginia, we do not use attorneys for probate. 99% of markets will have full information for the attorney. Once you click in, this is what the data actually looks like. So we split it out in the personal representative, the deceased, the attorney, and then the court information. You can add your notes. You can create short codes or tags here to create your own, to basically customize it. You track your phone calls and the result of that here.
Wow.
This is the money saving tab. So on the option status, you can rate them to any of these. I won't go through each one. The really important thing here is you can exclude from mailing, calls, and emails. So when you're going through prospecting, this is typically up to 4 phone numbers. Number 1 is usually their personal cell phone, and then it kind of goes home phone, office phone, spouse phone, it's cascading. But you're prospecting here, you can opt people out here. When you get done with the list, you'll be able to see all the ratings for this list, when you set your follow-up, and the last time you spoke to them.
Chad,
especially, yeah.
Real fast while you're on this screen, and I'm asking this kind of for a selfish reason because I want a ton of listings. You guys recommend that the calls always come after the mail hits the house, right?
That's my preference. We certainly have people who are really aggressive prospectors and they hit the phones before they can even get a letter out, and they have success too. What I found when I was doing this, I track everything. And what I found is putting the website in the PS line of my letter, I was able to tell basically what time the mailman would go down the street because I could watch the WordPress Jetpack Analytics. So it would show it to me in real time, or Google Analytics real time. But what I found is people would get the letter, read it, come to my website, and then call me. So that kind of told me that the letter was good enough. It piqued enough interest that they wanted to know more about me. So they went and looked at my website and then Zillow or Trulia or wherever, So I just started doing that instead of just calling. I started waiting for my letter to hit and then call, and it seemed to be a much warmer reception. If you're a really strong prospector and you're really confident in your offer, frankly, it doesn't matter. But if you're just getting started and you want the best chance of success, I would say drop your phone call right behind your letter. Let it warm them up and inform them.
Well, what do you think? Once again, a very selfish question. I like to barrage my leads with touches and calls until they sign on the line that is dotted. What do you think about a team or brokerage like mine that has multiple people calling these leads?
Well, I think you got to consider, I'll say this, if you are leaving voicemail after each phone call, I would not do that more than once every couple of weeks. If you're just calling until you speak to somebody, then keep calling until you speak to somebody. If you're barraging them with a voicemail every day, every morning until, they're going to be pissed when they hear from you. Or when you
At least they call back, right?
Right. So it's a little different than, tenacity doesn't always serve you as well in this niche as it might in FSBO or expired. This is about being there at the right time, not being there first. So you have someone who's in one of the most stressful situations in their life. They don't know where to start, and they'll call you when they're ready, or they'll answer when you're ready. So the follow-up is key to continue to follow up, but it's not at the same frequency that it would be for other lead types. And I think it's important to note, you also don't have every agent in town looking for listings trying to talk to this person, because most people have that kind of that mental block of, oh, this is ambulance chasing and this is unethical. But the reality is, if you're doing the right thing for the right reason, these people can't wait. Like, it's amazing the reception that you get when people actually understand, just like Barry said about the attorneys. Once they understand you're a different class of agent, it's game over. Like, the listing's yours. So if you're battering them daily, you're going to reduce your chances of them wanting to talk to you when they're ready. So I would say space it out at least, maybe call them once a week and leave a voicemail once a month.
Okay, I'll let you continue. Thanks for answering my question.
Yeah. You guys still have my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So this is a really simple CRM we talked about. Up here, we have a download button. So if you are using a separate CRM or managing your mail on your own, what we've done is we've made this so you can, if you click download for mailing, anyone who you've opted out won't be included in the list. Same way with your dialer list. If you're exporting this to Mojo, then the people you spoke to last month that said we aren't selling or we've already sold it, they're opted out. So you're not making phone calls to people who you've already spoken to. So you can download here if you're going to export, or obviously inside the system, all that information is there. Under coaching and training, so the fast track training, as I said, is kind of our basic training that this will put you ahead of 90% of agents out there. We archive all of our conference calls, and you have hundreds and hundreds of hours of that to look at. I teach a training once a month called Probate Mastery, where this is kind of a deep dive, and we offer a certification. I'm in the middle of the class right now, but we offer kind of advanced training. What I found early on was most people would get overwhelmed when all this was included in the basic training. So we kind of broke it out as a separate course that we do once a month. Mailbox Motivator is kind of the name of our marketing department. So in here, you can see any mail that you've done in the past.
And this part is great. Like, let me stop you. Me trying to do it on my own, being able to set it and forget it has changed my whole mail. Like, I wish I could send you more leads to put through this system, man. It works super well.
Yeah. So this button right here, the campaign autopilot, is what, if you click this, then we will automatically deliver your leads into the CRM, fulfill your mail without you even knowing about it. You get a copy of your own letter in the mail. We feed the list so you know when the letter showed up. And then as soon as the letters go out, it works in tandem. We'll make your phone calls right behind the letters. So it can all be set up in here. This is where you see what you've ordered. For the campaign setup, we have online editors, so you can see all the letters these are the letters that you're using. You can edit the letters, the envelopes, and then the header and footer, all online, so you don't have to drag it over into Microsoft Word. These are all letters that have, I would say combined, these have produced at this point, tens of millions in GCI. And then we also have postcards and brochures that we can fully customize. So
let me stop you because I'm getting kind of excited about looking at all this stuff because I haven't looked at it in a couple months. Whatever, set it and forget it. Barry, do you know which letters you're using, dude?
So we do probate letter 1, 2, and 3 over 90 days. And honestly, I kind of feel like maybe I should take a deeper look at some of these just because, I do value hiring someone that knows what they're doing and leveraging what's worked for other people. Like that, I've kind of built my business off of that principle. And so, and so far we've actually had people that have received the letter and called us. They get the letter. If there's a direct need for this service, and then that inbound phone call is priceless. It's super easy to then at that point, add credibility and convert.
And then Michelle, you said that you are running your own letters kind of more customized, right?
Yeah, so I'm doing that first, second, and third letter, but I'm replacing the first letter with mine and then adding one more. I didn't even, I'm like, Barry, I haven't looked at this in a little while. So seeing some more that there is something that we can add. Our next thing is with attorneys. We're just now starting to leverage that and to do it at a higher level.
Dude, this is such good content. I'm definitely going to get back in here later with my glasses on.
Yeah, and it's important. So there's kind of letters in here for every market and personality. Like, for example, I call this the social enterprise letter. I was helping somebody in the Denver market, which is fiercely competitive, with real estate investors right now. So this is kind of more indirect approach. It's a 2-page letter, so it's front and back. But we kind of, this is a lot softer. It doesn't necessarily go right for the real estate. The home value letter, this is like a farming letter. So it looks like we sent it to everybody in the neighborhood. So if you don't like the direct approach, there's still stuff here that has worked and has been proofed out. So you can see everything's in the online editor. You simply select and customize, and it'll drop it up here. And then you can edit your letter online. So literally in minutes, you can set up 90 days worth of marketing and have it, have that letter on file. And of course, this would hang up while we're on a webinar.
Chad, everything that I see is letter format and nothing postcard, jumbo postcard. What's, have y'all done?
So the online editor is not set up for, over here we have so these are the sample trifolds. Actually, I guess it is in the online editor. So we can make these look any way you want. We have a full print and design shop now. We've just bought the equipment and hired the staff. So we have, I don't know, probably 70 different versions of these trifolds. The best approach is, get clear on what you want, call us, and we'll design it for you custom. And the big difference here, guys, is we do small runs. So, I mean, we literally have clients that mail one letter per month. And we don't charge a drop fee or a setup fee. It's just a flat $1.50 for a letter and a greeting card envelope. And trifolds and postcards are obviously cheaper than that. But everything's here, and you can, if you have any print needs that don't show up here in the samples, just call us and tell us what you want, and we can usually deliver within 48 hours.
Chad, we have a question from the audience talking about the costs and the price of the system, mail, ISAs, all that. Can we go over that, please?
Sure. So, guys, there are 3,143 counties in our, that we cover. If you go to alltheleads.com/LCA, LCA for LabCoat agents, you can click on check your county and just jump into a state and then jump into a county. And what you'll see is how many, this is the average, a rolling average that we're getting in your market. We don't have pricing here because pricing changes as we hire researchers and encounter different things. So rather than managing all of that on the website, you can simply click here, fill out a form, or just call our sales team here at the top. Like we live answer, we try to live answer every single phone call until 6 p.m. Eastern. So you can just call this number or fill out this form. And each county is going to have a different price. It's, the range is anywhere from $189 to $1,700, just depending on the amount of data that's in the county and how long it takes us to gather it.
And then how about cost for letters and ISAs and all the additional features that you have there?
So our letters, like I said, it's a greeting card envelope with a live first class stamp.
They look really good. I just got to return one.
Oh yeah, you got one there. So you can even see it before you place your order. But this is, if you notice, look at the font is even it's not written on a level plane. So we've been very careful to make sure this, and we have different fonts. So the idea is to make it look as real as possible, live first class stamp. So this is a flat $1.50 per letter. Like I said, there's no drop fees or setup fees or anything like that. You're going to pay $1.50 no matter how many you're sending. For the ISA service, and you can go to, so this would be kind of like the mail. You can see when your ISA campaigns, and I don't have any in this demo account, but you'll be able to see anytime that we're on the phones for you, it will archive here just like it did in the mail section. The phone calls that we make are $2.50 per lead, not per call. So remember, we're giving you up to 4 numbers for each personal representative. So we'll call each of the 4 phone numbers and leave voicemail unless you tell us not to. And that's $2.50. And we're also managing your CRM. So as we're prospecting, we're coming into your CRM, updating the notes, opting them out. Anytime you get an appointment, you get notified immediately with the details. And as Barry said on his appointment, we not only do we just say, hey, call John Smith, we're setting an appointment, giving you notes on the conversation, and usually about 85 to 90% of the time a recording of the actual conversation, so you know what was said and you can listen to it on your own.
Right.
There's a great question from the audience by Rosemary Wynn. I'd like to know about your education so that I'm able to speak with knowledge regarding probate and its process. You know, do you also teach about that on a weekly basis, monthly basis? How do we get that?
We do. So I'll show you a resource, a public resource. So if you go to FAQ on alltheleads.com and click on probate information FAQ, this is generic information. So it's not state or county specific, but there's a ton of information here that you can learn, you know, the generalities of probate. In Probate Fast Track, we talk a little bit more about it. And then in Probate Mastery, which is our advanced training, we're going to do kind of a deep dive into that. So in the first day of Probate Mastery, there's if you go to the systems, probate system, education and training, you'll see a full course outline here. So this is about 6 to 7 hours of content that we do live over a 3-day period. And we teach you, you know, we focus on why this is such a big opportunity. Someone said, you know, that this more and more people, this opportunity is growing every year. Between now and 2060, we're going to lose most of the baby boomer generation. So we're seeing upwards of 2 million people a year go through this experience. So the need's growing. We spend session 1 kind of looking at, you know, why this has the potential to be a lasting niche in your business and maybe the only thing you do on the list side. Session 2, we spend getting really clear on everything you can do, building your team, finding the people to help you build your offer, and then getting real specific about what you're committing to doing. So you have a written plan. And then on the last day, this is all sales. So we're focusing on how we pull apart the initial conversation, literally layer by layer. We spend an hour dissecting a 15-minute conversation so you understand what questions to ask and in what order. And then I'll take you through my whole listing appointment and show you all the tricks that I've learned. So
Wow.
that's kind of training. And then on the mastermind and role play calls, that's the education that we do every week. It's ongoing. And I'm always blown away at the topics and just the positive conversations and the help that happens in that group. So I think that's probably one of the most valuable things we've done in this company is created that open forum on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and Chad, you know, with this training, I think sometimes this is a blocker for people. They think they need to be probate experts. And me saying I'm an expert at selling homes that are in probate is different than saying I'm a probate expert, right? Like I didn't go to law school. And while I'm familiar with the process of selling a home in probate and the needs of them, it doesn't mean that I necessarily have to have a law degree. And you know, and I love how the training is just teaching you exactly what you need to be successful with these leads. Very relevant training I found and my team found as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Barry. I see so many high analytical people. They're timid to visit attorneys because they think the attorney is going to think they're idiots. But the reality is, the story you told is how it usually goes. You know, I tell everybody that I coach, you will never know as much about probate as the probate attorney. So just let that go. And he will never be as good at sales and service as you are. So you guys need each other. You need to find a way to complement his business and forget about it. Like, unless you want to go to law school, quit worrying about it. Go do it. Like, get out there, right? And so many people just, they get in that aim. I'm like, I have to know everything about probate and the law and exactly what it means to do this. And frankly, some of the other people in this space that have created educational content, they focus too much on that. We're in the damn people business. Like, forget about probate. How do you understand and help the people and become a partner with the probate attorney so he can handle the legal questions? And I purposely don't go very deep into that because I don't want people to engage with families in that way and get in trouble for practicing law without a license. So our education is mainly focused on, you know, people and service and how to better do that and make it a smoother conversation.
Awesome.
All right, so we've only got 2 minutes. Suneet, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, Barry, we only have 2 minutes. So,
all right, Michelle.
Hold on, let me unmute Michelle.
All right, if 30 seconds roughly, somebody's listening, they're trying to decide if this is for them. What would be something you'd say to them if they were sitting in your office and they weren't sure if this was for them?
I would ask them, why are they wanting to do it? And as far as systems, what systems are you going to implement? Leverage it, because that's going to be your fastest way to having success with it and being efficient with it. Calls and leverage anything else.
Absolutely. No, that's great. And then Chad, there's been several people that have talked about, asking about demos. And Tristan has shared the link. Any closing thoughts that you want to share with somebody that's listening, building off of what Michelle said?
Now, I would say this, guys, whether you decide to use our service or not, the key to this is doing it for the right reason. So I tell everybody, if there's any one gift that I could give all of my subscribers, it would be confidence. And the only way that I know to get people there is to get really clear on what you're offering and have a solution for any problem these people could be encountering. And when you get to that level, you don't have to have a damn script. You know exactly what to say, but you become the leader in the transaction. And that's what these people really want. They want leadership, because this has all been stacked on their shoulders. So get clear on your offer and get proud of it, or get going to something else. Because if you're not proud of what you're doing, you're going to fail anyways. And especially if you're our customer, we're not in the business of taking money. We want people to really own this and be proud of it and be proud of their offer. And the people that I work with that have achieved that, we have people making over $1 million GCI on 45 leads a month.
What?
They're doing the right thing.
Right.
I'll introduce you. He's actually not far from you, Suneet. I'll introduce you guys.
But he should be a little far, bro. Come on.
Marin County. You're in South, right?
All right, Tristan.
No, man, I just wanted to thank you for this. This is pretty sweet. You gave me some great information, and now I need to use the product now. So I'm going to be hitting you up.
Cool.
That sounds good. Well, thank you everybody for being on. And Chad, I'm sure you're going to get some people asking about the questions about the service, alltheleads.com/LCA. And I'm sure your guys will follow up with them quick and get them any information. And if you have questions, post an LCA. Suneet, Tristan, and I will all answer the best we can, and just keep growing together.
Awesome.
Thanks,
all right.
I'm calling you in 10 minutes. Okay.
Bye, y'all.